my name is Gabby and welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, then welcome to my channel, and today's video is going to be my November 2025 reading wrap-up. The fact that this video exists at all today kind of just feels like a miracle. I am still in a reading slump. It is still bad, but I did manage to catch up to the manga series that I fell behind on back in September. I also listened to 2 audiobooks this month. So yeah, I love the content warnings I can find linked down below in the description, along with links to some resources, and let's go ahead and get into it. And first up, we are going to be talking about These Infinite Threads by Taore Mafi, which is the sequel to This Woven Kingdom. And This Woven Kingdom follows our main character, who is the long-lost heir to an ancient Jin kingdom. But the rest of the world only sees her as a disposable servant girl, as she is forced to hide who she truly is. And then this also follows our other main character, who is the Crown Prince, and he has always heard of prophecies foretelling the death of the king. However, he never expected it to be a servant girl who he can't stop thinking about, who would uproot his kingdom and the entire world. So this book picked up where the other one left off, which basically means we got, I would say, about 90% of the action right away. It felt like a lot of setup for what I hope and assume to be like more fun things later on in the series. There was also a lot of relationship forming, and I will say that one of my major complaints about the first book, not really a factor in this one. And I like that. And I thought that the main relationship that was explored in here was interesting. I also thought one of the characters that was explored in here was interesting. Now, the other point of view though, I get why he's there. He's a major character, but he's so awful. And I think I knew that going into this book, but it was just really grating at times. And I also knew going into this book that the pacing was going to be on a little bit of the slower side based off of book 1, but this one just never really did pick up for me in the same way that the first one did. But I also didn't fully mind that in the way that I usually would. Like, I feel invested in this series and I want to know what happens next. So part of me I think just likes the vibes, even though I can't really pinpoint exactly why just yet. Like, I listened to this while I was at work and doing a task that I really needed an audiobook to distract me from for like long periods of time, and this did that, and I am very grateful for it. I ended up giving this 3 out of 5 stars, but I'm hoping that the books that come after this one just really bring everything together more and just really honor all of the developments and explorations and just setup that this book did. And I am excited for what I assume to be more action later on when things go down. And next up we have The Buffalo Hunter Hunter by Stephen Graham Jones. This is a historical horror novel that takes place after a diary from a Lutheran priest in 1912 is discovered within a wall. This diary ends up being a transcription of the life of a vampire named Goodstab who haunts the Blackfeet Reservation looking for justice, and the series of confessional visits that Goodstab and this priest have with one another. This was long, like really long, specifically 15 hours and 29 minutes without speed up. Slightly better with speed up, but yeah, still very long and very much worth it, because I think my favorite part of this book was just the structure and writing in general. And I came out of this book with a lot of respect and appreciation for the author and just like the storytelling as a whole, with like the different timelines and the transcriptions. The audiobook itself also had like a really fun element towards the end of the book that just really added to the entire like listening experience of it. So I really like that, and then I also really like Goodstab's chapters specifically, even though like the sheer amount of blood sucking in this book made me really nauseous at times. But also, like, historical horror novel about a vampire, I will more than take that. Like, that is a good thing. However, there were times where I was less interested in the other 2 point of views, especially like around the middle, where I also think the length of this book started to catch up to me and my reading slump. There were moments where I did find myself unfortunately just like zoning out. So yeah, didn't love them, even though I do have an appreciation for their presence, mostly because they do contribute to the overall structure of the story, which again, I really liked that. I also think this book just had a really strong and interesting concept just in general, so even though it definitely did feel long at times, I'm still really glad that I read it. It was more than worth it, and I ended up giving this book 4.5 out of 5 stars. And now it is time for the manga series that I am finally once again caught up to and currently reading as a update over on the Shonen Jump and K-Manga apps. And like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, we have more chapters here than we do usually, because I did fall behind on a handful of these series back in September, but thanks to a couple of reading vlogs, I am now caught up again, and I am very happy and relieved about that. So over on Shonen Jump, I read chapters 214 to 221 of Blue Box, chapters 173 to 185 of Akane Banashi, chapters 92.1 to 103 of Kagurabachi, chapters 49 to 61 of Ichi the Witch, and chapters 40 to 42 of Ruri Dragon. And over on K-Manga, I read chapters 168 to 170 of The Fragrant Flower Blooms with Dignity, chapters 152 and 153 of Gachi Akuta, chapters 197 and 198 28 of Windbreaker and chapter 29 of Galaxias. And as always, I am only as caught up to the K-manga series as I can be without using points to unlock the chapters because I am saving those points for another series right now. But my favorite of all of those series that I just named is actually going to be a tie between Akane Banashi and Ichi the Witch, which if you saw the 2 manga reading vlogs that I did in November, this probably doesn't surprise you because I came out of both of those vlogs very happy with both of these 2 series. Akane Banashi, I think, actually accidentally benefited from my reading slump since I got to read so many chapters in a row, and I got really invested in the characters, the Rakugo, and just the competition that was happening. I was also feeling really nostalgic about them too because like a lot of time has passed in this series and there has been so much growth, and I really like the way that this series is going about like showing that growth. And Ichi the Witch was just really fun. They started a new arc that I really like. I like the aesthetic of it and how it pairs with their already really beautiful art style. The new characters are fun. We're getting to know another character right now that we haven't gotten to know too much about yet, which has been interesting and again, fun. I also just really love their comedy. They make me happy. And it's just a series that I feel like I'm gonna have a really good time with whenever I read them, and they're just going to boost my mood in a positive direction, and I am really, really excited for the future of this series. Like, it has definitely quickly become a huge favorite for me, for sure. Okay, so that is all that I have for today's video. Thank you all so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, and answer the question that'll be around here if you want to do that, and hopefully I will see you here next time. Bye!